What's up, real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome into the wide receiver video for this man, JD's Big Board 1.0 for the 2024 NFL Draft. I'm joined with my co-host, as I will be for all these Big Board videos. JD, how we doing today?
Fantastic.
You're like, yay, how many of these are we doing? I'm saying the same thing over and over. Before we get into everything for the wide receiver, remember, if you want to support us, go check out patreon.com. That is down below in the description. You can become a part of the MVP Discord, the greatest community in the universe. That is also in the Discord. And to check out JD's top 25 big board right now, go to mostvaluablepodcasts.com, link in the description. We also have a calendar where you can see everything, when we'll be posting, when they'll be posting, which will mean where you go to look. Hit that subscribe button because they'll all be here. Audio, we will have audio this year for our podcast, which is nice because of the website. But JD, we're looking at wide receivers before we get into everything, as we always do for these, or as we have been doing. This is the third one you and I have done. Give us your rankings. What are your wide receivers looking like?
So number 1, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. Number 2, I have Keon Coleman. Number 3, I have Malik Nabers. Number 4, I have Mecca Agbuka. Sorry that I butchered that. And then number 5, I have Brew McCoy.
First thing I want to start off with, I was going to start light and be like, oh, is this going to be like the best class of this year's draft? We'll get into that, JD, but I got a bone to pick with you. Why does everybody that I've seen has a Mecca number 2? They have Marvin Harrison Jr. Right below him, a Mecca. OSU. We just trying to be a contrarian here, JD? We got a reason for this, or are we just trying to be a contrarian? What's going on?
So, yes and yes.
Yes
so,
and yes.
So I actually really like Keon Coleman. But the other reason is I went into it.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of all the way I do my big boards, I guess, because it's my first time doing them around on video. I like to do it from a predictive standpoint as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of like to think ahead. So like I mentioned in the running back video on how I don't like how stats don't always matter and it's mainly just about traits.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that still goes into wide receiver, but I feel like the stats are a little more indicative.
It's a more stat-driven position.
Yeah. So I feel like with Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka playing on the same team, well, one of them is going to get hurt because of it, and ultimately I think that's going to be Emeka.
So you're just predicting an injury?
No, not an injury.
Oh, hurt. Okay. When I heard hurt, I thought you meant like hurt injury. Whoa.
No, hurt their draft stock.
Okay, that makes more. That's probably the better way to look at it. I mean,
also, sorry, one more thing. But me putting Emeka 4th, that doesn't mean I don't think he's a first round talent. I 100% do. I just think that I think we could see 5 wide receivers go in the first round.
Well, and that's the one thing, the real thing I wanted to lead off with before I started that beef, because to me, it is Harrison Jr. It is Emeka. Boom, boom, 1, 2. Like the thing that and yet again, this is kind of teasing my mock draft a little bit, maybe. I am fully prepared for a team to try to do what the Texans did and get, first off, the number 1 overall pick to get Caleb Williams, and then try to get a top 3 pick to try to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, that would be Madden levels of absurdity, getting Caleb Williams and then Marvin Harrison Jr. Boom. There's your quarterback wide receiver duo for maybe the next decade. But the true question, and I do believe this, JD, I believe that when we get to the draft, we get to draft day in late April, we will be sitting there going, this wide receiver class is the best wide receiver, or not the best wide receiver, but is the best class in the draft. This first round class is going to be driven by these wide receivers, and it's going to kind of mirror, I think, a little like what I think to recent history is kind of that wide receiver class that had like Justin Jefferson in it, where everybody was talking about those wide receivers.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like that, like I said like 2 minutes ago, I think that we could see 5 wide receivers go in the first round, or
Mm-hmm.
even more, depending on obviously how the year goes. I think right off the bat, I think that this wide receiver class could be the best in this year's draft. Just from the preseason
Mm-hmm.
perspective. So I wouldn't say it's a crazy thing to say. It could be like that JJ draft in terms of the wide receiver talent.
Not even the JJ draft. I'm trying to think which was.
Well, there's the Jamar Chase draft, that Jalen Waddle,
Yes.
um, and or Jalen and Devonta Smith.
Man, I'm even thinking further, and I'm like trying to now scramble to find it, but I want to say maybe it was like the 20.
Was it the
Oh,
2013 draft?
yes,
Or
that's
the
what I'm thinking. Like
yeah.
that's the one that had oh
Was that
shoot.
the
Tannehill
AJ
Tannehill was in it.
Green one?
No, I don't think it was AJ
Or
Green.
no, that was 2011.
I know Tannehill was in it for the quarterbacks. I believe that was the Crabtree. Let's see. 2013 we had Tavon Austin, DeAndre Hopkins, Cordell Patterson, Justin Hunter, Robert Woods. Like, I guess I'll ask that is, do you see this class for wide receiver being more hype coming out of college, or more of the side of like, besides Marvin Harrison Jr., there's not a lot of hype, but like the 2013 class, you look at things. DeAndre Hopkins, one of the top wide receivers in the league consistently. You look at what some of the other names I mentioned there, where it was like Justin Hunter, good option. Cordell Patterson, good option during his career over early on. Like, is it going to be Robert Woods, somebody who was reliable? Well, became reliable when he was with the Rams more than early on. Like, are we just going to get solid players, or is there just going to be mad hype for all of these guys coming to the draft?
Now, I think that yes, there's going to be a lot of hype coming into the draft, but I think that this wide receiver class will have a very high floor. So obviously not everybody's going to hit, but let's
Mm-hmm.
say my big board is correct as of today, and those top 5 go in that order. I don't see any of those guys busting out. I could see them being, like maybe like not an all-star, not a Pro Bowler, but
Mm-hmm.
a everyday NFL player for the next 7 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, like I said, they're not all going to be top 5 wide receivers in the league,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't see any of them being out of the league in 2 years.
So I think I found it. 2010 was one of the years I was thinking about. Antonio Brown was the headliner. Demaryius Thomas was right behind him. Des Bryant was in that draft. Golden Tate was in that draft. Emmanuel Sanders was also in that draft. I believe that was also the draft that I believe had Gronkowski in it. It was either that or like 2014, which is the one that had Jarvis Landry, Mike Evans. Yeah, 2014. This is it. Listen to these names, JD. Jarvis Landry was the headliner. He went 63. 7, Mike Evans. Then you had OBJ, Brandon Cooks, Devonta Adams, Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson, Josh Brown. Like,
that's pretty
just solid wide receivers across the board. I knew it was in that like early 2010. So it was 2014 is what I was thinking about. To me, like, I honestly think we're going to get a class like the 2014 one, where it's just like every single guy that we're looking at now is just straight production. Like, it's going to be led by Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously so. Like for example, you just have it where it's like, you got a dad like Marvin Harrison, you're named after him, you got to play. You got to be one of the best wide receivers in the class. Yeah. Like, another thing, he ain't on lists. I want to see how well he does this year, but like, I looked at it today that it's going to be crazy that in the Pac-12 this year, JD, we could see a matchup of Deion Sanders' son playing cornerback, Jerry Rice's son playing wide receiver. One's at USC. Obviously, it's Sanders' kid is at Colorado with them. Like, Rice's son is another one of, like, just because of his name, if he plays well, is that going to prop him up to be on a list, maybe be like a later wide receiver guy? I don't know if he's ever going to jump into the first round of anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like football is a little more different than basketball.
Very different.
Because in basketball, yeah, you have a son of a Hall of Famer, and even if that player isn't very good, like what? Yeah, Scottie Pippen Jr.
Yeah,
like I mean, he was all right, but he got the reason why he got all that hype is because he's Scottie Pippen's son.
Yeah.
So football, yes, you still see sons of former players get drafted, but I feel like it's more common to be like, okay, this kid is the son of so and so, and he's a 5th round talent or whatever. Like, I mean, I feel like that could be it.
And I had to check myself. Jerry Rice's son is a senior coming into this year, so will be draft eligible. Last year as a junior, 611 yards, 4 touchdowns. Only had 39 receptions. So, like, yet again, volume's going to be a thing. But yet again, if you have the snaps out there, Caleb Williams throwing to you, like, you're the best quarterback in the class out there at USC. I'll ask you this, and this will be even crazier. Any of the wide receivers that you have listed, do you think any of them have a shot of even coming close to where Marvin Harrison will be drafted? Marvin Harrison probably going to be a top 3 lock.
I mean, the only one that I could see may become close, and not even that close, is Emeka. Just because, again, if what I said earlier doesn't happen, and they both just go off and have unreal numbers, I don't think it's crazy to see them be number 1 and 2 go. Yeah. But that's the only one. I mean, I like the other players, like I said, Keon Coleman, Malik Neighbors, and Brew McCoy, but I don't see them coming close to top 3 picks in the draft.
So I'm going to throw a curveball at you here, JD, because one list is shorter than the other. And the title down below really can be changed at any point, because as we're recording this, it's not changed. I'm calling an audible. We're going straight into it. This is part B of this video. Give me your rankings for tight ends. We'll just hit them out right. We'll get all the pass catchers kind of linked up here, because, like, I'm looking at it and I'm going, there's only one guy that I think will be interesting to see where he goes mixed into the wide receivers, but he's a tight end, not a wide receiver. Give me your tight end list, the rankings.
Yep. So number 1's Brock Bowers, number 2 is Jatavion Sanders, and number 3 is Cade Stover.
So you know who who I'm talking about. Like, you out there watching this right now, you know who I'm talking about. It's big Brocky Bowers, baby. Like, the thing I will ask you, JD, is if I combined it, let's say alternate history, it wasn't wide receiver tight end list, it was just pass catchers list. Where does Brock Bowers fit if you put it all in one list? Is he 2 behind Harrison? Is he 3 behind Coleman? Where is he fitting in?
He's number 2. And honestly, it's close between him and Marvin Harrison, in my opinion. Like Brock Bowers is unreal. I honestly believe he will go in the top 10 this year.
I was going to say, do you think he's a top 5 pick?
I think he could be the 5th pick. I don't know if he'll go any earlier than that, but I can easily see him being the 5th pick or somewhere in between 5 and 10.
Right now, Tankathon has him at 5. Has him at 5, going to the Indianapolis Colts. Could you imagine that Anthony Richardson kind of struggles this year? Colts get a top 5 pick. They go with Brock Bowers to pair up with AR and just say, here's your dude. We're going to give you the tight end pairing to give you. I know this ain't that video, but, like, just thinking about that. Also, you know, I said how a team is going to try to get 1-2.
Yeah.
The Cardinals will probably be that team because the Texans might be one of the worst teams, and the Cardinals may be the worst team this year because the Cardinals own the Texans pick. Do you think there's even a chance the Cardinals and Texans end 1-2, meaning the Cardinals get the first overall pick and the second overall pick?
No, I think I've said it during the draft season, and I'll say it, and I still believe it. I think the Texans are going to be a lot better than people think that.
Did you not see CJ Stroud in that first game? Did you not see the bust of the century is what I was seeing on Twitter?
Oh, yeah.
One preseason game, baby.
People said that about Trevor Lawrence. People said that about Ja'Marr Chase. Yeah, I mean,
I also will say I love how. Did you see the like third string quarterback from speaking of Trevor Lawrence from Jacksonville? I forget his name, like Calhoun or something, where he was getting tackled in the pocket, got away from it, ran out, threw a pass. And the thing on Twitter I saw is like, come on, we got to give him hype because if Patrick Mahomes did that, everyone would have been jerking him off.
So not funny story, but fun fact. So his name's Nathan Rourke.
That's what it is.
Last year, he was the quarterback for the BC Lions of the CFL. So
okay.
So there's this Instagram page from TSN. If you're Canadian, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Basically, so it was pre-game for the BC Lions game, and I guess they were watching the game on the big screen, and all his former teammates were like losing their mind because they were watching that play live.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, good for him. I mean, cool moment for him in the CFL or in the NFL preseason. So
yeah, getting back to the tight ends before we end this, I feel like when it comes to wide receivers, tight ends, it's Marvin Harrison, it's Brocky Bowers. Like I feel like this year when we do the draft room, JD, every time we bring up Brock Bowers' name, I just got to hit the Brock Lesnar music, the dun 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 dun. Because he's just he's the best tight end, and I can't wait to see how high he goes.
I do think, I agree with that first off, but I do think that Jatavion Sanders, I think he will sneak into the first round. Yeah, for tight end. I think he could be the second tight end taken. Just because I feel like, again, kind of going back to quarterback quickly, like with the Quinn Ewers thing, I think he'll be Quinn Ewers' number one target this year.
Just as kind of safety blanket.
Yeah. Okay. And he's another person who is a very good route runner, sure-handed, nice size. So I think he's someone to keep your eye out for.
Any final thoughts about the wide receivers or tight ends before we end this?
No, I think we nailed all of it.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think down below. Is this going to be the best class of the draft, the wide receivers? Let us know what you guys are thinking down below. Remember, check out that Patreon page. Check out the MVP Discord. Join the conversations there with everyone a part of the MVP Nation. Make sure to check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. Especially check out this guy's full top 25 up right now. Want to thank you for doing everything you do. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. As always, have a good day, everybody. As always, we'd like to thank the people that make these videos possible, our patrons whose names are displayed on the screen now. If you would like to become a patron, go ahead and click the Patreon icon in the bottom right. And if you'd like to check out another video from MVP Sports, hit the video in the upper left. As always, thanks for watching.